welcome to today's edition of Money Moves. I am Melissa Enoch here at the FMDQ studios in Lagos.
And I am Grace Agbarago. It's Tuesday, the 10th of February. We thank you for joining us at this time on the show.
All right, we begin now with News Now. Access Holdings PLC says the proposed acquisition of Bidvest Bank by its subsidiary Access Bank PLC did not complete as the long stop date expired. The transaction, initiated on December 12, 2024, sought to acquire 100% of Bidvest Bank. The long stop date of January 26, 2026 lapsed without all conditions, including regulatory approvals, being met. The company said the outcome reflects the complexities and lengthy timelines of multi-jurisdictional transactions and does not change Access Bank's strategic interest or view of the South African market. In the meantime, Ethiopian Airlines generated $4.4 billion in revenue in the first half of its fiscal year, beating its target by 2% and recording a 14% increase year on year. Briefing reporters in Addis Ababa on Tuesday, Group Chief Executive Mesfin Tatu said the performance was achieved despite a challenging operating environment. Cargo operations drove growth, with the airline transporting 451,000 tons of freight, 4% above plan and 19% higher than a year earlier, consolidating its position as Africa's largest air cargo operator. In Kenya, Safaricom has today unveiled Zidi Trader, a new app that brings NSE share trading directly into M-Pesa for the first time. The launch marks a major shift in how Kenyans access and participate in the capital markets, making share trading more simple, digital, and widely accessible, and opening new pathways to ownership through the NSE. Here are excerpts.
We are guided by Safaricom's ambition to become Africa's leading purpose-led technology company by 2030 by creating a connected and inclusive digital financial ecosystem. The ecosystem seamlessly together works on payment, savings, credit, investments, government services, developers, and global partners securely and safe. GD Trader fits squarely within this vision, and it extends M-Pesa's beyond payments objective and short-term transactions into long-term wealth creation and investment. To support this future, we have already made a big investment in transforming M-Pesa into FinTech 2.0, a cloud-native, AI-driven platform built for scale, resilience, and trust. The new M-Pesa core processing capacity has increased from 4,500 transactions per second to 6,000 transactions and scalable up to 12,000 transactions per second. This robust foundation gives the assurance to introduce innovative services like GD Trader built on trust, reliability, and security.
Through the seamless integration of stock trading into the M-Pesa platform, millions of Kenyans, especially our young people and women, will gain simple, affordable, and convenient access to investments in shares, in bonds, and other products listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, placing the tools of ownership and growth directly into their hands. You know, standing here today, when I had a conversation in these capital markets in 2023, I did ask the Nairobi Securities Exchange and the capital markets fraternity, including our friend Safaricom, that it is important for us to democratize these capital markets and demystify the purchasing of shares. For a very long time, it looked a very complicated process. CDS account, brokers in between, and everything along the journey. And I did ask that
In Ghana, Guinness Ghana Breweries has reported stronger profits for the 6 months ended December 2025 despite lower revenue. Revenue fell 14% to 1.34 billion Ghanaian cedis from 1.60 billion Ghanaian cedis a year earlier, while operating profit rose to 179.4 million cedis from 126.6 million cedis. Profit before tax climbed 165.1 million cedis, and profit after tax increased to 117.5 million cedis, up from 83.9 million cedis. The strong earnings were supported by lower costs and tighter expense management. Here in Nigeria, the governor of the central bank, Olayemi Cardoso, has outlined how the monetary policy actions of the financial regulator has stabilized the banking sector, the exchange rate market, and the broader economy. Speaking on Monday at the National Economic Council conference in Abuja, the CBN chief, however, cautioned on the dangers of heavy spending on electoral campaigns towards the 2027 general elections. Let's listen to him.
CBN Roadmap 2026 to 2030. Plan for leveraging macroeconomic stability for enhancing productivity and growth. Macroeconomic stability remains the most effective enabler in investment and increasing outputs across agric, manufacturing, and service value chains. Goes without saying that without stability, there will be no growth. So I believe if there's something positive that has come out of this is the fact that we now have stability. The CBN roadmap includes anchoring disinflation, FX market normalization, and financial system resilience. And what this means in common language is that we will stay the course and continue doing the things we have done. I'm conscious of time, so I will race through the rest of this presentation. Roadmap for enabling growth and development. Number one, price stability through transition to inflation targeting. Number two, strengthening external reserves, safeguarding the value of the Naira. We will do whatever it is to ensure that we safeguard the value of the Naira. Banking sector recapitalization. Ongoing recapitalization will support the financing of the $1 trillion economy. Danger ahead, the risk we must manage. And I thought this is a very important slide. Liquidity overhang. There's a lot of liquidity that still remains within the system, and we've got to manage this very, very carefully. So we are not out of the woods yet. The election cycle, typically election cycle, a lot of money gets pumped into the system. This has to be watched to ensure that it does not destabilize and challenge the very, very bold reforms which have brought about stability to the economy. The global trade tensions, I won't say too much about this because I know everybody in this room follows what has been happening in the recent past with global trade tensions.
Meanwhile, Ethiopia's banking sector reported a combined profit of 91.06 billion birr in the first half of the current fiscal year, up 650% from the same period last year, according to the National Bank of Ethiopia. The strong performance comes despite turbulence in the foreign exchange market following the July 2024 liberalization of the country's currency regime, which had caused losses for some lenders due to foreign currency payables and other balance sheet exposures. In other news, Morocco is set to be included in a new JP Morgan Frontier Market Local Currency Debt Index, boosting the country's visibility among global investors and supporting domestic bond market development. The index will track local currency government bonds from 20 to 25 frontier economies, with Morocco expected to be among the largest weight countries alongside Egypt, Vietnam, Kenya, Nigeria, and Bangladesh. The official announcement is expected by mid-year, with the index likely to launch formally in 2027. Finally, on News Now, the International Organization of Securities Commissions Organizations, otherwise known as IOSCO, has released its work program for 2026. The program involves 5 key areas that include investor protection, market effectiveness, the pursuit of regulatory cooperation, and more. Let's now listen to IOSCO Chairman Jean-Paul Servet.
The key strategic priorities for 2026 were approved by the IOSCO board after assessing the vulnerabilities in the market, prioritizing the work streams and keeping capacity to address new development. And these priorities are, firstly, strengthening financial resilience and market effectiveness. Secondly, of course, protecting investors, but also the evolution of public and private markets, technology transformation, and last but not least, the DNA of IOSCO successful story, promoting regulatory cooperation and effectiveness. Ensuring the resilience of the global financial system is a key pillar of IOSCO mandate. What does it mean? Well, it means that in 2026, IOSCO will look, for instance, into the impact of extended trading hours on trading venues and continue to work on financial market infrastructure, focusing on third-party risk and cyber resilience. IOSCO will also contribute to the work of the FSB, the Financial Stability Board, on issue of availability, use, and quality of non-bank data, and look into liquidity metrics for open-ended funds. IOSCO will also finalize several ongoing work streams on valuation and disclosure principles.
I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now this Tuesday. The show returns shortly with Grace at the FMDU Archives Room, giving us our market updates.
Initially, as we became independent, we had most of our development thrust was from the West. But as we evolved, we have also benefited from investment and cooperation from countries like China. I think the premises upon which you construct your question, I don't think is perfect.
Not surprised.
Yes, Zimbabwe is a sovereign state.
Yes.
You understand? And we move on the basis that gives us the best results of our resources. Whether it is relation with the West or the East, what is primarily important is what we ourselves as Zimbabweans are satisfied with. We don't need to please the West or please the East. We please ourselves.
Welcome back to Money Moves. Let's now go over to Grace for today's market updates. Hello there again, Grace. What are the markets saying today?
Thank you, Melissa. We begin as usual with equities. The Nigerian Stock Exchange surged by 1.64%, while the BRVM in Abidjan gained 0.40% to 378.42. The Nairobi Securities Exchange added 0.56% to 205.08. In South Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange rose 0.28%, and in North Africa, Egypt's EGX30 edged up 0.16%, while Morocco's MASI slipped 0.15%. Let's do a quick round on some of the Pan-African currencies. The rand eased 0.33% to 15.96 against the US dollar. The Egyptian pound was flat at 46.85, while the CFA franc declined 0.65%. The Kenyan shilling dipped 0.02%. The Moroccan dirham ticks up 0.02% to 9.12, while the naira weakened 0.72% to 1,352 naira 16 kobo as at 13:45 GMT. Let's switch into the commodities data deck, beginning with energy prices. Brent crude rose 0.58% to $69.44, while US WTI gained 0.39% to $64.61. Natural gas eased 0.41% to $3.12, while Arabian gasoline dipped 0.10% as at 13:39 GMT. Finally, to soft prices. Cocoa fell 3.06% to $4,058. Coffee was nearly flat at $294.05, and cotton gained 1.07% to $62.27. Palm oil rose 0.28%, while sugar eased 0.49% to $14.28 as at 13:42 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those updates on how the market wrapped up today. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From me and the rest of the team here at the FMDQ studios, we say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.